We can see paramecium moving in a drop of pond water. All animals exhibit the property of locomotion. But have you ever thought about how locomotion is done? Which factor affect locomotion? Do all animals have the same locomotory styles? In this video, we will discuss locomotion and movement and the special structures which aid in locomotion. Movement is a characteristic feature of living beings. We can see movement at the cellular and organ level and the movement of the entire body. Can you list some of these? So, let us start our journey with lower forms. Recall that unicellular and multicellular organisms have pseudopodia and cilia as their locomotory structures. In case of sperms, they show movement with the help of flagella. Now, what about humans? Humans use muscles for various activities, right? Before discussing in depth, let us try to define locomotion. Do red blood cells and human limbs show the same kind of movement? Absolutely not. There are different ways by which cells of a human body move. Let's see the first type, that is amoeboid movement. Amoeboid movement is exhibited by blood cells like macrophages and leukocytes, and also cytoskeletal elements shows this movement. Most of our internal tubular organs have ciliary movement. Movement of our limbs, jaws, eyeballs, heart and tongue requires muscle movement. All these movements are brought by muscles. So, if you are asked to define muscle, how will you define it? Muscles are a type of body tissues composed of long cells that can contract and move. Now, from where do they originate? Muscles originate from the mesodermal germinal layer. Let us focus on different types of muscles. To make your study easier, let's first try to list the different properties of muscles. The first property is excitability. Like neurons, muscles are excitable tissues in the sense that they can conduct or transmit electrical impulses response to the stimulus. Second is contractility. Contractility is the ability of the muscle to contract. The third is extensibility. Extensibility is the ability of the muscle to elongate and stretch. And the last property is elasticity. That means the property of regaining the original shape and size after being stretched. These were the 4 properties associated with muscles. Now let's move on to locomotion. So, based on the location, appearance and nature of the regulation of activities by muscles, we can classify them into skeletal muscles, visceral muscles and cardiac muscles. Our locomotory actions and body postures are supported by skeletal muscles. So, what is so special about these muscles? Skeletal muscles are strongly connected to the body's skeletal components by tendons, that is a connective tissue, and enable the movement of muscle. We call skeletal muscles as striated muscles or voluntary muscles. Let us check the reason behind it. If you observe a muscle fiber under a microscope, you will find long, thin, multinucleated cylindrical fibers, and they are crossed with a regular pattern of fine red and white lines, giving an appearance of the striated muscle. We also call skeletal muscles as voluntary muscles because we can control when and how they move with the nervous system. So for example, if you want to take a book from a table, the information is passed from the brains to the hands, thus recognizing the need and completing the requirement. Let me ask you a question. Which type of muscle is seen in visceral organs? We can see visceral muscles in the inner lining of the internal organs. Let us now check the properties of these muscles. Muscles seen in internal organs and such areas have a smooth appearance and will be without striations. So, these visceral muscles are known as smooth muscles or non-striated muscles. They perform all the involuntary actions taking place in our body, and hence they are termed as involuntary muscles. Another type of muscle is the cardiac muscle. It is the muscle of the heart. They are short fibers arranged in a branched manner. These muscles are under involuntary control. That is, they help in continuous rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart for pumping blood. The muscle have striation, hence it belongs under striated muscles. Let's now move on to the contraction of muscles. What is the main reason for the movement of a skeletal muscle? Can you guess? The contraction of muscles result in the stimulation of protein in the muscle. So the targeted muscle is stimulated to contract according to the sliding filament theory. But before learning the sliding filament theory, we need to know the structure and contraction of a skeletal muscle. If you check a section of an optical fiber, you would see different layers in it. It is the same case in a skeletal muscle. Each organized skeletal muscle in a body is made up of several muscular bundles or fascicles that are connected by a layer of connective tissue comprised of collagen called fascia. Keep in mind that we use the term sarco to denote the parts related to muscles. All cells have plasma membrane, right? Similarly, muscle cells also have plasma membrane. The lining of the plasma membrane of the muscle fiber is called sarcolemma, and this sarcolemma surrounds the sarcoplasm. The peculiar feature is that there are several nuclei in muscle fiber. Thus, we call it as multinucleated syncytia or simply syncytia. Next, let us focus on the endoplasmic reticulum of the muscle fiber. The endoplasmic reticulum present in the muscle fiber is called the sarcoplasmic reticulum. These structures have calcium ions stored and help in participating in the contraction of muscles. Muscle fibers also contain parallel strands called myofibrils or myofilaments. Now, let us check the ultrastructure of a myofilament. Recall that skeletal muscles are striated muscles, which means they have alternate light and dark bands. Do dark and light bands have any differences? If so, which factors are responsible for these differences? What are the proteins in these myofibrils? The distribution pattern of actin and myosin filaments gives a striated appearance to the muscle. Now let us check the bands and their associated proteins. If you check the image, the dark band is anisotropic. So it is known as A band. Whereas the light band is isotropic and it is known as I band. The protein actin is seen in the I band and they are thin band. Whereas myosin is seen in the dark band, that is A band. It is important to note that each actin filaments are made up of filamentous and globular actins. How are they arranged? They are arranged helically wounded to each other, and each F actin is a polymer of the monomer G actins. They have another specialized proteins too, that is tropomyosin and troponin. While in the case of a myosin filament, each myosin filament is a polymerized protein and one thick filament is made up of several monomeric proteins called meromycin. Let us now check the structural arrangement of both the bands. They are arranged in rod-like structures parallel to each other and also to the longitudinal axis of the myofibrils. So, how will you identify a sarcomere? A sarcomere is a functional unit of contraction that is defined as the portion of myofibril between two successive Z lines. So, we can say that each sarcomere is separated by two very dark bands known as Z disc or Z lines. The isotropic and anisotropic bands are located within these Z lines. These Z lines bisect the I band. The thin filaments are seen in I bands, which explains that actin proteins are seen in the I bands. So, where are the thick proteins seen? Can you guess? For that, we must be familiarized with the M line. The thick filaments are seen in this M line. So, what is the location of this M line? It is seen in the middle of the A band. What does all this have to do with muscular contraction? In a resting condition, the edges of thin filaments on either sides of the thick filament partially overlaps the free ends of the thick filament, leaving the thick filament's middle portion half exposed. The H zone refers to the middle region of the thick filament that is not overlapped by the thin filament. You will learn more about the mechanism of muscular contraction in the coming videos. Now, how do our muscles move? Do muscles slide and contract? What is a cross bridge? What is a muscle fiber or white fibers? Let us discuss all this question in the next video. Let's now summarize what we have learned.
Manorama Horizon. Learning made simple.